In the river meta, the hippo is regarded as a build that's almost impossible to counter. Unlike the crocodile, which relies heavily on stealth and ambush tactics, the hippo allocates all its skill points to muscle power and defense, transforming it into a true juggernaut. With massive HP, armor-thick skin, and a bite force capable of one-shotting nearly any mid-tier build, the hippo has virtually no direct rivals. Its entire playstyle revolves around controlling map resources, especially access to water, while using intimidation and brute force to dominate any challenger. As a result, the hippo consistently maintains its status as a top-tier river boss, acting as the ultimate gatekeeper of the African wilderness meta. About stats, the hippo is an absolute monster in the river meta. HP is insanely high, with body mass ranging from 1.5 to 4 tons, making it one of the tankiest builds on the continent. The attack is equally terrifying, with a bite force exceeding 1,800 pounds per square inches. The hippo can crush bones with ease and even snap human-crafted wooden boats in half. Defense borders unbroken, thanks to skin nearly 5 centimeters thick, granting near immunity to most bites, claws, and even small caliber weapons. Despite its bulk, speed is shockingly strong, able to hit 30-40 kilometers per hour on land and move with surprising agility while swimming or diving, making it almost impossible to outrun. The only real dump stat is stealth, since its massive size makes it hard to conceal itself outside the water. But this is compensated by its special ability, Territorial Rage. When defending its zone, the hippo enters full boss mode, drawing aggro and attacking any build that intrudes. From lion manes to human players in boats. With this stat line, the hippo stands as one of the most optimized river gatekeeper builds in the entire natural meta. The hippo's moveset is a perfect showcase of investing every point into damage, defense, and area control. Chomp of Doom is its signature ability. A single bite can crush turtle shells, snap lion bones, and serve as a hard counter to the crocodile class, which is otherwise famous for its tankiness. Any build reckless enough to contest hippo territory risks getting one-shotted. Next is Amphibious Mode, which lets the hippo operate as a true semi-aquatic unit. By sealing its nostrils, it can stay submerged for hours, avoiding extreme heat while setting up surprise burst attacks. Then there's Fear Aura. The mere presence of an adult hippo is enough to force most mid-tier predators to disengage immediately, functioning like a massive passive intimidate skill in the meta. Finally, Team Buff elevates its power even further. Hippos are highly social and often roll as a squad. A full tank council of hippos is virtually unbreakable, granting them absolute dominance over freshwater maps and forcing every other build to respect their zone control. A build as strong as a hippopotamus always has many strengths that make gamers choose it. When it comes to power, the hippo has virtually no natural predators. Even lion manes, famous for coordinated PvP, rarely risk engaging a full-grown hippo, while the crocodile class, normally a top-tier river ambusher, will back off the moment a hippo shows up. Its greatest advantage lies in being both insanely tanky and high damage at the same time, a rare combo of massive HP and devastating burst output, making it feel like a true natural raid boss. On top of that, the hippo dominates through map control. By locking down riverbanks and watering holes, the most vital resources in the African ecosystem, it forces nearly every other build to adjust their gameplay, avoid direct conflict, or relocate entirely. In short, the hippo isn't just powerful in 1v1 combat, it functions as an ecological gatekeeper, shaping the entire river meta around its presence. However, even a powerhouse build like the hippo comes with some serious weaknesses. It may have a massive HP pool, but that also means an insanely high mana cost. To keep its stats stable, it has to graze constantly. This forces the hippo into spending most of its uptime face down in grass, basically a form of away from keyboard farming that's extremely inefficient. Its most critical weakness shows up in the early game. When first spawned, baby hippos come in with severely underpowered stats, low HP, poor mobility, no tusk damage, and heavy reliance on their mother in an environment filled with high-tier predators. This makes them free EXP for croc mains and lions. Even with their mother nearby, a single lapse in guard duty can easily result in a baby hippo getting picked off. On top of that, the devs coded its AI with some pretty buggy behavior. Most of the time, it's as chill as a village NPC, but the moment the wrong trigger goes off, it flips straight into berserk mode. This makes the hippo's behavior hard to predict, often baiting it into unnecessary fights that do more harm than good. Overall, the hippo build is like a hidden boss in the meta, absurdly powerful in the right situations, but still full of exploitable gaps that keep it balanced. In the River Lake biome, the hippo is almost guaranteed an S-tier placement. With the full river terrain buff, the hippo unlocks nearly all of its advantages: mobility buff, maximum tankiness, and an intimidation mechanic. In other words, within the river meta, the hippo functions as a raid boss spawn, an entity most players would rather avoid than challenge. However, during extended dry season environments, the hippo immediately drops to A tier. Without constant access to water, it loses its mobility advantage and becomes clumsy on land. Being forced to travel long distances to find water burns through its energy reserves and puts massive stress on the build. The open terrain also weakens its intimidation mechanic, since it can't quickly retreat to its safe zone. The result? Still a strong build, but no longer the untouchable final boss. It is in its ideal habitat. Even though the hippo build looks like an unstoppable raid boss, in every meta, there are always players bold enough to test it. So, what are the most notable counters for the hippo? On paper, the crocodile seems like an even match. Same biome, same river-based playstyle, and armed with a devastating one-shot move in the death roll. But in practice, this matchup heavily favors the hippo. Why? Because hippos have absurd HP and insanely thick skin, making most croc bites basically ineffective. On top of that, hippos get a mobility buff in water and usually run in squads. As a result, most trades between these two end with the crocodile retreating, or worse, getting chomped to death. In the river meta, crocs are basically auto-lose if they commit to the fight. Lions, on the other hand, are much smarter. Instead of going for a direct trade, which is essentially griefing, lion mains prefer to target baby hippos. Because young hippos spawn with severely underpowered stats and rely heavily on their mother, lions have a shot at picking them off whenever guard duty slips. But if the mother catches on and engages, the lions flip straight into insta-lose territory. That's why lion strategy is always hit and run, focusing solely on the hippo's early game. And then, we have the hippo's true nightmare, the human build. With an overpowered tech tree, humans have all the tools needed to bypass every single natural advantage the hippo has. Spears, traps, bows, and especially firearms let humans fight safely at range, no direct trades required. The outcome? Hippos drop from boss tier to prey tier in just a few well-placed hits. And it doesn't stop at PvE combat. Humans also stack on the habitat destruction debuff, shrinking hippo spawn zones and draining resources. This is the real reason why, despite dominating the local meta, hippos struggle to maintain top-tier status against humans. In summary, in the river meta, hippos have almost no predators willing to solo them, except human mains with their broken tech tree. The current hippo meta is entering an extremely dangerous phase. In the past, hippos were one of the most stable builds in the freshwater biome. No significant natural predators, stats so overturned that most rivals couldn't counter them, and populations kept strong thanks to abundant habitat. But now, the meta is shifting due to two major debuffs. Habitat loss. Humans are expanding farmland, blocking rivers, and building hydroelectric dams. With the meta changing this fast, hippos can't just rely on their current kit. If they don't adapt, this build risks dropping off the tier list entirely within a few hundred years. So what patch predictions could keep hippos S tier? Right now, hippos are basically hard-locked into a grass-only build, forcing heavy reliance on riverside biomes. A potential patch would be unlocking an omnivorous perk, or at least expanding into aquatic plants and fish.
Nice.
This would reduce dependency on riverbanks and help hippos adapt to the drought meta. Next, if unlocking an endurance or speed perk, hippo will prevent the constant mana drain status when traveling far for water. If the devs buff coordinated aggression, think wolfpack levels of synergy, hippos could expand territory control instead of being boxed in. This would let them pressure predators and even resist human encroachment better. Otherwise, they risk becoming Mammoth 2, a raid boss build that once dominated but got out of the meta simply because it couldn't adapt fast enough. So is the hippo the ultimate ruler? Probably not. But in its own territory, even the Lion King won't dare step in. If the hippo is the S-tier boss of the river meta, which build do you think is strong enough to counter it hard?